He won a game in the last hour. Today's show is brought to you by Legal Shield, providing legal protection and peace of mind for less than $1 a day. Legal Shield can help with traffic tickets, texting and driving, DUIs, court appearances, estate planning, popping in the microphone, and even contracts given to you that you just don't understand. Plus a whole lot more. Call Legal Shield right now at 213-245-1305. That's 213-245-1305. Again, 213-245-1305. Or visit them online at nocourt.us. Okay, Mr. Sal The Bookmaker, we're just going to recap where we are now in our 9th week since November 5th. You're actually 42-4 in your picks.
42 wins against 4 losses.
I think I had 2 or 3 of those in there, but
right, it's all documented. Everything that we've done, it's crazy.
42-4.
Right, I keep wiping your head.
I got to wipe the sweat off my forehead because I can't believe it. Listen, people, this is no joke. We have it all listed on placeyourbet.vegas. Go to our podcast. If you want to spend 43 hours listening for all of our picks,
you can do it in less than 2 days. Document everything, and you'll see exactly where we're at.
And it's going to be the real deal. You picked your 42nd game last night when you had Clemson dominating Alabama. You had Clemson dominating everybody. You had them dominating Notre Dame.
Well, that was a joke. They should have beat Notre Dame 70-3.
Well, Brian Kelly, the coach of Notre Dame, said that Clemson does not have overwhelming talent.
Okay.
He says it. He claims that the reason they lost that game that badly was from coaching error. So I mean, he's taking the hit. Brian Kelly's taking the hit.
Yeah, well, he's going to get hit.
Yeah, Brian Kelly's done a pretty good job at Notre Dame. Not good enough. Dabo Swinney is now the new Nick Saban. He moved ahead of Nick Saban, so I'm putting him in the legendary category now.
He's just the Dabo Swinney. He's not the new Nick Saban. He's just the Dabo.
He's the original Dabo.
Right.
I love him. You know, great story about him. He went to college. His family, he didn't have a dad. Just his mom raised him, and they struggled. His mother was struggling. So when he went to the University of Alabama, he was a player at University of Alabama. He played for Gene Stallings. Mm-hmm. He won a national championship in 1992. He was on that team. He wasn't a big contributor, but he was on that team. But when he was in college, his mother fell on hard times. So he moved his mother in to live with him in college. Now, how many guys in college have their mom,
hey, Mom, come
living
in? You're in the dorm. Come on in.
Living in the dorm. That guy is a cool guy, man. Let me tell you something.
Applause.
That's a cool move. Dabo Swinney's a cool dude.
Yeah.
He moved his mom into the dorm. Talk about hard times. Talk about getting your gonads busted. I'm sure that they broke his chops incessantly back then.
Right. You know, when you're at that age, people don't think about being do-gooders. They think about doing everybody.
Yeah, you could say that. It doesn't change. What are you talking about? When you're that age, when you're this age, it doesn't change. You're stupid.
It's the truth, though.
Oh, my God. Where does that come from?
I don't know where it comes from.
Life's lessons from
I don't
Sal.
know. That's what I do. I watch videos. I can't help myself. That's what I do.
Yeah, you watch videos. I'm going to save that one for the second break. So this today I've been pouring over all of our podcasts. I have to go over all the material because we're putting together a little demo reel. You know, we're going to start shopping the show around or whatever. And I'm listening to all of our stuff. First of all, you have it so organized on the website. Placeyourbet.vegas. The bookmaker set it all up. It's great. There's my bio's in there, Tommy T. Sal's bio's in there. And then there's a bio on the money. Which I think
right? Yes, there's a pile of money up there, and it has its own personality and its own history.
And the money's getting bigger and bigger. The pile is getting bigger. You should put in quotations, "That's my money," because that's what you said to me. That's my money.
My money.
You should put that in the. Go back in the site and put that in quotations.
Right, that's my money.
That's my money.
Boom,
boom. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I've been going through some of our stuff,
and those are sequential bills, by the way.
They're in sequential order.
They're all sequential bills.
How did you manage that?
Don't worry about that.
Okay.
When the bank hands them to you, they hand them to you. Basically, they get them from the Federal Reserve, and they all come in order because that's just the order in which they're cut and printed.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you're getting to get that. Yes. Whether you like it or not. Sal gets the first gong of approval. Now, I was listening at the inception of the gong of approval. I started introducing the gong of approval somewhere along the second week of our shows, sometime in mid-November, and you hated the gong of approval. Now you keep quiet. You don't go crazy.
I've become numb to the gong of approval.
The gong of approval.
I think of Gong. I think of the Gong Show. I think of Gene the Dancing Machine.
This is different. The gong of approval is a positive thing that happens.
Okay.
Okay. So we got the coaching carousel is in full force. And we have an interesting hire today. Actually, two interesting hires. We got this young coach, Cliff Kingsbury.
What'd you call me?
Cliff Kingsbury. Yeah, say that 10 times. He gets hired by the Cardinals. Obviously, he's a quarterback coach. He coached Pat Mahomes at University of Texas Tech. So they're thinking that he can work with Josh Rosen, who obviously needs a lot of work. And then the Bucs hire Bruce Arians.
Give them a big round of applause.
66 years old.
That's a great hire. And because he took Todd Bowles with him, too. Bowles is defensive coordinator. Yeah.
They worked together in Arizona. It was a great combination in Arizona. They're working together again. Bowles is a very good defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He was in a bad situation up in New York.
That's an outstanding combo going to Tampa.
So my guess is, and I told you I had something for this, and this is a total guess. My guess is that Arians knows Jameis Winston. He knows him. Actually, that's not just a guess. Jameis Winston was in Arians' quarterbacks camps. So he does know Jameis Winston. And also, when Jameis Winston got in trouble recently, it was in Glendale, Arizona. It was in the Phoenix area, Scottsdale, Phoenix area.
Yeah, guess who lives there?
Yeah, Arians lives there. So my guess is that he knows Jameis, and he has a good positive feeling about Jameis, and he probably feels like he can turn things around with him. That's, I think that's something that, we're going to find out in the coming months, how Bruce Arians works with Jameis Winston, because I think you and I will agree that Jameis Winston has had his head up his ass most of the time since he hit the scene as a freshman, winning the national championship at Florida State University. He's been in trouble, it seems like, every 6 months, and it's not a little bit of trouble. It's like some serious trouble. So maybe Bruce Arians thinks that he can work some wonders with this guy.
Look, he's a good quarterback. He just needs the right people around him, I think, to flourish. Remember, he led the league in big plays this year, too. So I think they're onto something there. I like the combination, unlike what they're doing in Arizona. I think that is an ass-backwards plan. You bring in a quarterback's guy. What about the balance of the team? Why doesn't the kid come in and be the quarterback coach only and get themselves a real head coach? I think that's what happens. But the worst part about it is Arizona doesn't have a lot to work with anyway.
Well, apparently they have a defense. We didn't see much of it this year. They hired this guy, Steve Wilkes. He was a rookie coach with no track record. Then they hire another guy with no track record. I guess this GM, Steve Keim, is putting his job on the line. They're saying, when you hire back-to-back coaches with no experience whatsoever, basically you're saying, I know what I'm doing and you don't.
Well, what you're saying is, I don't want this job.
Yeah, and Keim is another guy that got in trouble. He got a DUI. He was suspended for 3 or 4 months this year. So it's not like he's the sharpest tool. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe Kingsbury comes over there and he does a great job. Who knows?
Well, maybe he does a good job just with Rosen. What about the balance of the team? That's my problem. You can't just bring a quarterback's coach in. What about the offensive line? What about everybody, the receivers coach, and so forth? What about your special teams coach and so forth?
Sean McVay, the young coach of the Rams, had something to say about that. Sean McVay said that the reason I'm doing so successful here is because there are better coaches around me.
Right.
He said
he's part of a good system.
Yeah, and he gives it up to Wade Phillips and the offensive line coach. He says that I'm humbled by the great coaches that I'm working with. So this guy Kingsbury's got sort of a blueprint to follow, not far in the same division. Maybe they're going to get a big-time defensive coordinator to go there.
Well, who's available?
Well, I know that the Denver job is down to Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator of the Bears, and Mike Munchak,
I heard
the
it was
offensive line coach.
I heard it was going to be Mike from somebody in the Denver camp earlier today.
So it's one of those two. So my thinking is, if Fangio doesn't get that job, maybe Arizona can lure him away from the Bears to run that defense.
I don't think so.
Maybe.
I don't think he would go from a team that's ready to win to a team that's nowhere near winning.
Okay, and maybe not, but maybe he goes to a team where if Kingsbury falls on his wallet, he steps in and finally gets his head coaching job.
And I don't think it's really about money either. I think Fangio wants to stay where he's at.
No, I'm saying if Kingsbury falls on his wallet, I don't think it's about money with Fangio either. I'm thinking it's about he wants the head role.
I think he wants to win. Because once you win, when you're on a winning team, then it's a lot easier for you to get the big job that you want if you're fresh off of a victory.
But don't you think if he did a better job with the defense on that last drive against Philadelphia, he would have won?
We can replay this one 100 times over. You're just going to piss me off
with that.
You're just going to piss me off. Stop it now. That's enough.
Listen,
no.
You don't have to do a fake piss off. You'll get pissed off at some point in this week. Somewhere you'll get pissed off.
As will you. You get fired up a little bit too.
Yeah, I get fired up too. Only when you say, let me talk. I'm like, I'm letting you talk. I just gave you the floor for 4 minutes. Stop cutting me off.
Because you have a habit of cutting me off.
Yes, when you're wrong, I'm going to cut you off.
No, you have to hear the entire thought before you cut somebody off.
When you're wrong, I'm going to cut you off. Well, just like if I'm wrong, you can cut me off.
Why do that anyway?
No, I'm rarely wrong.
Let's ask the woman.
No, I'm wrong often. Okay, so it's been fun going over some of the tapes and some of the podcasts. I cannot believe how heated we get in here. We're not heated right now, but I cannot believe
the weather's good. You know why? Because we have gummy bears.
Yeah, I don't.
Yes, Christmas gummy bears, and you have chocolate.
The intensity level raises. When we talked about Antonio Brown, forget about it. When we talk about some of these guys, the intensity level raises because sports means a lot to us. I mean, that's why we're sitting here talking about it every day. It's not like it's our whole world and the everything begins and ends with sports, but at some point in the day, if I get a chance to sit down and talk with you about sports for an hour, even if we weren't doing this radio show, when we hang out, we'd be talking sports for an hour anyway. It means a lot. So that's why. Well, why not do a show and make a little money over it?
You know what's funny is that for the most part, I think this is just a general statement. Women in general gossip about stuff. Guys talk about sports.
That's our gossip.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
That is just, it's in our blood. That's what, and it's not against any women, but this is what guys do. This is why we remember stats of stuff from 40 years ago, because this is what's important to us, not the gossip of, well, Billy Bob over there, he didn't brush his teeth today and he was breathing on me and I didn't like the smell of it. I don't give a damn. Well, walk away from him.
It's funny. You brought up Noah Jackson, the offensive guard for the Bears back in the 70s.
Yeah.
And I said, his running mate, the other guard, was Reeve Sori. How the hell do we know? How do we know that? It's not like, we do have good memories. We're historians in general. It's not just sports. I know a lot of American history and the Civil War and the Revolutionary War and our presidents. I know a lot of history. We're historians. But Reeve Sori, come on. Reeve Sori and Noah Jackson, the offensive guards for Walter Payton in the 70s. It's ridiculous.
Did you know Reeve Sori had a stroke?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's in bad shape.
Okay, I didn't know that. I don't know a lot of those guys. Well, what about the other guy, Jimbo Covert?
Jimbo Covert.
Wasn't he ill? Wasn't he ill too? Is he the guy?
I think was he number 74, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh no, I'm
thinking
Bill Fralick, the offensive tackle for the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay,
he's the one that's ill.
No, I didn't hear anything about Covert.
Yeah. Jimbo Covert played with Dan Marino in college. Mm-hmm. He was the tackle for Marino in college, so they were always good buddies. And, of course, the Bears were winning and Marino wasn't.
Yeah.
That was the stuff. They would have been great if Jimbo could have blocked for Marino in Miami. Marino had some...
it would have been great for him, but not great for the Bears.
No, Jimbo was their prime-time offensive tackle. Okay, so other coaching hires. We just said that the Broncos have whittled it down to Mike Munchak. Love that. And Vic Fangio. I vote for the Fangio.
Do you ever meet a guy that's like 5'3", 112 pounds named Jimbo? I've never met one. Have you?
No, I haven't.
Just wondering.
No, I haven't. Right? You got to be a big guy to be named Jimbo, right?
Yes. Yeah. Right. It's like seeing a guy that's 2'3". His name's Rocco.
How many?
I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of little Roccos.
The Rocco I knew in 6th grade, he had a mustache.
Yeah. Well, my Rocco, part of the mob men, he's 5'6". He's a little guy. Most of the Roccos are little.
Not the ones that I know, buddy.
They're big.
Yeah.
With no necks.
Yeah. Pack of hot dogs on the back of the neck anyway.
Okay. So listen, we're closing up the first segment here, and let's talk about some of Sal's extracurricular activities back on the second segment. I'm gonna give it everything I've got. How the hell did that be the first segment? We were on for 5 minutes.
Not sure where we're going with that one, but we'll have to see. So I'm watching you. I'm looking at you through the camera to make sure it stays centered.
Okay, I hit the commercial today.
Hey, yeah, don't press any other buttons you're not supposed to.
Last week I hit a button I wasn't supposed to, and yesterday I didn't hit a button at all.
It just went on its own. Well, I know we're having problems with the telephone lines. I got a text on it earlier because I had it right. I know how to do it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, our phone lines are down. Or they're not down, but I know there's a glitch in them somewhere. So maybe tomorrow, folks, if you want to call in, we can take call. That's fine. And I think Mike from Paducah is bowling tonight, so he's not with us.
I got the text from the troops. I'm doing the troops February 1st. So I got the text from the producer. She says, not sure if you've been told, but this is a huge event for us as we pick military members that are best of the best in multiple categories. So I guess you can calm down if you want. I don't know. It's the first, so I think it's 8 o'clock. So I don't know how.
What day of the week is that?
It's Friday night.
Oh, I might be in Atlanta.
All right, so we'll have to find a way.
We'll see. Yeah,
we'll have to find a way to put a replacement show in or something like that.
Right. There's a shot that I'll be down at the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because the Super Bowl is that Sunday.
Yeah.
It's the 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
right,
I did the same thing last year. I was up in Minneapolis. I got the airplane. It's like 7 below zero. With the wind, it's like 4 below zero.
Yeah, well, it doesn't bother you. That bothered you though.
It was cold, but I was still walking around. I stayed at the University of Minnesota. I stayed at the Graduate over there. I'm still walking around in shorts across the street, get my food down the block. I was wearing, unless of course I had to go to the events, then I was wearing pants and so forth. But I was still wearing shorts. It was cold. It was cold.
You look like a mental patient wearing shorts.
But you said that I was that earlier.
A mental patient?
Something like that.
You are a mental patient.
I don't know. Hey, our Knights were winning 1-0 last I saw. What's the score?
They're playing the Rangers.
They're playing the hapless Rangers.
The poor Rangers. The Rangers are at least the Rangers won in 95.
94.
94. That
was against
Knicks should
Vancouver.
have won that year too. They blew it against Houston that year.
Well, let's see what we're doing here.
Okay, we have 30 seconds to go.
They're
up 2-0.
2-0, yes.
2-0.
Who scored? Who scored?
It says Eakin and Perry.
Oh, Cody Eakin's back and Brandon Perry back on the score sheet.
7th goal. Yes! Man, the Knights are playing well. The Rangers are 17, 17, and 7.
So they're really 17 and 24. 7 overtime losses.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's what the 7 is.
All those overtime games?
Yeah, that's what the 17, 7, and 4 you said.
17, 7, and 7.
Oh, 7. Okay, so yeah, they have really 24 losses. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Hey, dude, what are you doing?
I hit it too early.
Here, let these people listen to this.
Other shows don't or are too scared to cover. There's no primetime show like it on air that'll punch you in the mouth and you'll beg for more. Also, you could call in and participate with our chaos if you dare. Join me and celebrity guests for Havoc and Mayhem weekdays at 5 p.m. here on KSHP 1400. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
It's in Minnesota. All right, bring us back.
Okay. Viva Las Vegas. Okay, folks, welcome back to Place Your Bet. This segment is brought to you by the American Business Trust Company. Helping your company with business strategy, sales and marketing, capital resources, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, and the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. Visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's ABTRUSTCO.com, or call 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company. 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away. Okay. So I want to ask you, when you're not working, I know that you have your other businesses in addition to your radio shows. When you're not working, do you watch anything other than the Three Stooges and cartoons?
Yeah, sports.
Okay, and sports. Are you following Designated Survivor or any Netflix series, or
no?
You don't?
I don't know anything about.
You're watching the new series Dirty John.
I know nothing about any of that stuff.
You don't watch any of that stuff.
None of it.
Any movies that you're going to see? Are you going to go see the new Kevin Hart movie, The Upside?
I don't even know what's playing.
Or how about the J-Lo movie, Second Act?
I don't even know what's playing.
You don't take the girl to see any romantic comedies?
No.
Do you ever watch any of the Bourne trilogy, the Jason Bourne trilogy?
I did like that. That was good.
Okay, you like that? Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yes. Because every day that I come into Sal's office, Sal has a couple hours break between shows. I come into your office, and you're watching Rodney Dangerfield, which is amazing. Three Stooges. You were watching Hockey Brawls a couple weeks ago, just sitting there watching Hockey Brawls. Laughing.
What could be better than Hockey Brawls? Come
Great.
on.
Hockey Brawls are great. And today, of course, I look in the window. The office is dark. You got your computer screen on.
It's the theater environment.
The only light is the computer screen, and I see a roller coaster, but it was a point of view roller coaster.
Yes.
Right? It was a POV. And it looked like the Colossus at Magic Mountain, which I've been on for years and years.
Same.
It was a wooden roller coaster. I love the wooden roller coasters.
Oh yeah,
right?
the rickety and everything.
Yeah, and it was great. So I'm watching it, and then I see you got the headphones on, and I see you doing this. Your head's bobbing and weaving, and I come in, I open the door, and I'm like, seriously? I'm like, are you really riding a roller coaster? You go, oh yeah, I love roller coasters. I love roller coasters.
Yeah.
So
What
you're
could be
nuts.
better?
All I
A
can
round
say
of
is
applause for roller coasters.
round of applause for roller coasters. And Sal is you're quite a complex cat. Complex cat, but I can't get you in a Pilates class to save your life, though, right?
When I got roller coasters, why wouldn't I?
I took Mindy's class yesterday at
Who's
True
Mindy?
Fusion. I'm not supposed to say it. I took Mindy's
All right,
class
Fonzie.
yesterday. And Mindy's one of my favorite teachers, my yoga
Why?
teacher. Oh, she's a fantastic yoga teacher. She always is.
Okay.
But this is one of the reasons why. I take her class often. I haven't been able to take it for about a month because for reasons, the holidays, they fell on New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve on Monday. Wasn't able to take her class. But every time you take her class, she always introduces something new. It's not the same poses every time. So you're running
different
for an hour.
positions. We like that.
Different positions, yes. Very creative with their positions. And of course, it's an advanced class, and I can't do the crow pose and the side crow pose where you're balancing on your arms and I can't do all those poses that most of them can do.
All right, you're speaking another language to me, but that's okay.
Well,
Please proceed.
you don't know what a crow pose is, where
No.
you get on your hands and you put your knees up on your triceps and you basically balance your whole body.
Dude, that's
on
like
just your
that's
hands.
an old move from breakdancing. Yeah.
No, but you stand there. You stay
Which
there
I
for
used
a
to
minute.
do, by the way.
You used to break dance.
Yes.
Are you sure you're not saying that you used to break heads?
Well,
with
I'm talking about
aluminum
something
bat?
else. Don't worry about that, but I'm talking about something else.
Aluminum bat. You can break heads. Okay, so Duke is just starting to wipe the court with ACC teams now. They beat Wake Forest in Wake Forest, 87-65, which isn't a big deal. Some of these road games for Duke is like an hour and a half on the highway. I mean, how far is Wake Forest from Durham?
It's a couple hours.
Okay,
It depends how fast you're driving.
Excuse me. Okay.
Maybe 2.5 hours.
They go to Durham. They go to Wake Forest. Wake Forest is a city, right? Wake Forest-
Winston-Salem.
Oh, Winston-Salem. Okay. Okay, they go to Winston-Salem. They go to Raleigh, which is what, 30 minutes?
Raleigh is, 4 minutes away?
Is it really 4 minutes away?
Yeah, because you got Durham, Raleigh, Durham, and
Chapel Hill.
and the Chapel Hillbillies on the other side.
So
Yeah.
it's
So
just
Chapel Hill's 8 miles, and Raleigh's literally 4 miles
So
away.
when the Duke team goes to Raleigh or goes to Chapel Hill, can some of the players just drive there and meet the team
Well,
there?
they
Or do
just
have to-
walk there if they wanted to.
I never realized how lucky they were with that stuff. You know what's a horrible league to play college basketball in because of this is the Big 12. The Big 12, I mean, even though there's not 12 teams in there, but they're flying, they're flying from Texas to Oklahoma. They're flying from Oklahoma to Kansas, from Kansas to Colorado. They got some.
Okay, but so is the Big East. With DePaul, they got to fly from Chicago to New York and blah,
That's
blah.
not a bad flight, though. That's an
It's
hour
still-
and a half,
it's
hour and
2
40
hours,
minutes.
It's a 2-hour flight.
But the Big East originally wasn't that bad. The
No,
Big East was.
I'm talking
yeah.
about it today.
Yeah, no, but I
Yeah.
mean, listen, I can't talk about the Big East without just thinking
I
back
know,
to the
I
80s.
know,
I mean,
I have
to
the
me,
same-
that was college basketball at its peak. It was the finest. The ACC, the Big East, even the Pac-10. That college basketball was fantastic. You had Arizona and UCLA; they were always good. You had the Big East; they would put 6, 7, 8 teams into March Madness, and then you had the ACC, which always had some of the best teams. I mean, come on! Oh God, why did they ruin our sports?
Because of money.
Yeah, because of
Just-
football.
It's money, right? And look, it's whether it's football or basketball, the same crap. Now look at the Big Ten extends all the way to New York, to Maryland. How stupid is that? To Nebraska.
Rutgers? You mean Rutgers, New York?
Yeah. And Maryland and Nebraska. I mean, teams that don't even schools that don't even belong in these conferences.
You're right, because when
It's
they
ridiculous.
when they add teams, they're basically adding television markets. That's why
That's
they
it.
wanted Maryland. They wanted the DC market,
right, the greater DC
and then
market,
they wanted
exactly.
Rutgers because they wanted the tri-state greater New York area. You're
Right.
right. Well, that's one of the reasons the Big East was conceived back in the late 70s by Dave Gavitt, who was the old Providence coach. He coached Marvin Barnes and Ernie DiGregorio back in the 70s. One of the things that he went to, and he said, listen, if we can join together and form a conference, we're going to get big television packages because of Philadelphia, New York,
Right.
and Boston and Pittsburgh, all those
Right, and that's what the
cities.
Pac-12 did by taking in the Colorado Buffaloes. They took the Denver market in.
Yeah,
right?
You're right. It is about money. College football
Yeah, they have
and
Denver
money.
and Salt Lake.
College football and money is ruined college basketball. I'm sorry. It ruined it for me. I hate it. And I think it still would have been damaged anyway because these players wouldn't have stayed.
Well, I just want to know, why is Notre Dame allowed to be in the ACC for baskets and not for football?
That's a conversation that you and I will always agree on. We'll never argue about that one, and it'll never be solved. because even in football, they play they have 4 or 5 ACC games in football. It's not like they're playing Clemson every year. They're not playing the best ACC team every year. If you were in that conference, you'd have to play all the ACC teams every year.
Right.
It's almost like they could pick and choose who they play.
Yeah, Notre Dame plays a soft schedule every year. Then they don't even have to play in a conference tournament. It's disgusting. That's why they go to the Final Four and they get blown out by Clemson.
It caught up to them. You're right. It caught up to them. They got what they deserved.
They were embarrassed by everybody, and rightfully so.
They got what they deserved. Now, Central Florida didn't play a great schedule, but in defense,
well, their schedule was no worse than Notre Dame's.
No, it wasn't. But in defense of Central Florida, they couldn't get anybody to play them. They asked all the big schools to play them, and nobody wanted to play them in their non-conference games.
And the deal now with Florida is they got to go to Florida twice because Florida refuses to go to Orlando and play them.
Wait, so you mean Central Florida has to go to Florida?
They have to go to Gainesville.
They got to go to Gainesville twice.
They got to go to Gainesville.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, so Central Florida will still get a big paycheck from going to Gainesville.
Right. But they'll beat them too.
Yeah, the thing is, normally when you play these colleges, it's called a home and home.
Yeah,
it's called
of
home
course.
and home. You play one there, you play one there. Nobody wants to meet them halfway.
Right.
And so in defense of Central Florida, they're saying, "Oh, you're blaming us for our schedule, but you won't let us play anybody in the preseason."
Right. So this is exactly how it works in the Big Ten too. So here, just this past year, now Notre Dame dropped off the Purdue schedule, which they have been on for 80 years or whatever. And so now in replacement, Purdue put Boston College on. So it's the home and home with Boston College.
But aren't they in the same? No, they're not in the same conference. Boston College is in the ACC.
They're in the ACC.
You're
right.
Well, the other thing is Notre Dame played Michigan every year. They played Michigan again this year, but they dropped it off their schedule as a regular game.
Right.
It used to be an annual game. The beginning of the year, Notre Dame and Michigan. Mm-hmm. They're back playing again, but it's not guaranteed that they're going to play for perpetuity.
Right. Well, yeah, but Notre Dame was getting beat too. So they didn't want to be playing them every year.
That.
Yeah.
Well, Notre Dame will never drop USC though. That game has to be played.
Locked in.
That has to be played.
Right.
If those two teams aren't playing each other, then something's wrong with college football.
Something's wrong with the universe at that point.
Yes, it is. Even though that game doesn't mean much lately.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that game has to happen because that game says this is college football. That's like saying, all right, we have college hoops, but we have no Duke and Carolina.
Yeah,
What?
that can't happen.
It has to happen.
Or in one thing that I do like is that Syracuse has been playing Georgetown every year, even though Georgetown stayed in the Big East.
Right.
At least they're keeping that rivalry going because that rivalry started before the Big East. John Thompson came into Manley Fieldhouse when I was a kid, and he won the last game at Manley before they moved to the Cary Dome. And John Thompson said, first of all, they had a 54-game home winning streak, and John Thompson's Georgetown team won that last game with Eric Sleepy Floyd, and he said that Manley is officially closed. After he won the last
that's the
game.
end of it.
Yeah, so those two teams, they've hated each other since the 70s. So I appreciate that they're still playing. But I got to tell you, the Notre Dame USC game, if you go back to the 30s and 40s, that game used to be played. They used to take the train back and forth.
I know the one quarterback. Here's a bit of trivia. There's one quarterback that played. He was starting quarterback for Notre Dame and for USC because he transferred. Who was the guy?
Okay. I'm going to try to answer that, but nothing about the train? Nothing? You're not going to jump on the train at all? Okay. I brought up the train. Nothing about the train. I'm going to answer your question about the quarterback.
Okay.
I'm going to at least attempt to. But nothing about the train?
What train?
I just said they used to take the train. You just completely ignored it. That must have been a fun train ride when the Fighting Irish were taking the train out to L.A. in the 30s. I mean, that must have been a big event, right?
Well, yeah, but that was the event you don't want to talk about. That's the reason I didn't say, what train?
Okay,
what are you talking about?
Train? Okay, so listen, I don't know offhand who that quarterback is that played for both Notre Dame and USC. Can you give me a hint? Is there an era?
He's also the founder of C-SPAN.
Okay, that doesn't help me. But wait a second. So is it the 70s? Did he play in the 70s?
Buddy, I'm not going to tell you.
Why? It's not going to be
Because I already told you some hints already.
Well, that hint didn't help. Did
Look,
he play
if you are a football historian, a sports historian, and a historian in general, then you would know who the founder of C-SPAN is, as well as who played the only guy to ever start at quarterback for both schools.
He started for both schools.
Yeah, because he transferred.
He started for both schools. Okay, I have another 20 minutes in the show, and I'm not going to Google it because you'll see me Google it. I'm not going to Google it, but you have to give me an opportunity to answer that question. He started in both schools. It wasn't Pat Hayden. I know that. Okay, you have to get. Did you see finally the ACC just kicked off? The refrigerator turned off. Okay, what is that? Why are you flashing the schmitzicle at me?
Seriously?
What is it? Is the guy's name?
His
Schmidt?
name is Bob Schmidt.
Okay, I never would have got that.
All right.
In a million years.
How about a big round of applause for Bob Schmidt?
Okay. So you're gonna tell me what year he played?
Played the 1960s.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't have known that. Bob Schmidt. He started for Notre Dame. He started for SC. That's a great trivia question. That's
Tremendous one. And founder of C-SPAN, because I know him.
Okay, so you know him.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's excellent. See, look at I love that kind of stuff. Okay, we're gonna switch to your favorite sport. What is your favorite sport?
Hockey.
NBA.
No, not
NBA.
that.
And we're going to start out the NBA first by talking about the one and only LeBron James, because I just want to blow up the show. No, we're not going to talk about LeBron James. He's not even playing. I'm not going to talk about LeBron James while he's not playing. The Lakers did win a game yesterday. They're 2-5 without LeBron, but the Wizards actually won a game yesterday. The Wizards got buried today by the 76ers, but John Wall is out for the year. Okay, stop making faces. Okay, let's pay attention.
I'm listening
John
to
Wall.
you.
John Wall is out
I can
for the year.
multitask, you know.
No, you can't. John Wall is out for the year, and the Wizards. Why do the Wizards play better without one of their best players? Why is that? John Wall can't be that bad. As soon as he comes out, everything goes up. But it's a weird thing that's happened the last few years.
What does that tell you about John Wall?
Well, I don't know.
It tells you
I'm
everything
asking.
you need to know about him.
I'm asking.
If the Wizards play better without somebody, whoever it is, that tells me that maybe that person is a distraction on the court.
He passes the ball. He's a point guard.
I'm not saying that he's
not a bad player. He plays
a good
defense.
player.
I don't understand it.
He's a good player, but maybe the others don't like to play with him.
The others don't like to play with him. What are we, in a sandbox?
Maybe he's the guy that takes
don't like to play with him.
If they don't like, listen, he could be that guy that says, "I'm taking my ball home and the game's over."
I used to be that kid.
Of course you did.
I took my ball home.
Of course
I took the ball home. If they wait, I'm sorry. If they didn't go by my rules, I take the ball home. And I'm sorry. I took the ball home. I'm sorry. Maybe is that why I like these guys that are like that?
I think so.
It's like, but I don't like John Wall. I don't hate John Wall. It was a legitimate
you're the
question.
guy that took the ball home.
I did take the ball home in the neighborhood.
But you were the guy that got beat up a half a block
No,
away,
I
too.
never got beat up. No, you know why I never got beat up? I was the fastest kid in the neighborhood. They never could catch me.
Run, Forrest, run!
Although one kid, listen, one kid literally knocked on my front door. It was in the middle of summer. My parents were barbecuing in the backyard. We were eating dinner in the backyard. The kid knocked on my front door. I went to the front door, and he said, "Tommy, come outside. I'm going to kick your ass." The kid knocked on my front door, and he wanted to fight me.
Yes.
And so I said, yes. What? And he said he wanted to fight me because someone else said that I was talking about him. It was Pete Spina. I never even knew Pete Spina existed. So I stepped out into the front yard, and I'm like, okay, I don't know you. I never said anything about you, but you want to fight, let's go. And we were just about to go at it, and my mother comes out and goes, "What the hell's going on here?" I said, "This kid wants to fight."
See, my mom would have punched us both out.
Yeah, so listen, I was going to go at it with Pete Spina. I'm sorry. He knocked on my front. Does anyone ever knock your front door and said, "Listen, come outside, I'm going to kick your ass"? This is great.
You know what's funny?
Think
about this. All right, here in our last minute. Think about the very first time you ever heard that when you're maybe in second grade or whatever. "I want to kick your ass." All right, well, fine. So you turn around, go ahead, kick it. What does that mean?
Well, yeah, literal.
What is that? Right.
Yeah, we take it literal.
That's what you think.
Yeah,
exactly.
But as we grow older, we realize that the guy that keeps saying he's going to kick your ass is not.
Right.
It's the one that doesn't say anything that you have to worry about. Right. Everyone knows that.
You say you're going to do that, I'm going to beat you down.
Well, you had that one guy that said something. He said something to you, and you got in his face and said, "Okay, now what do you say?"
Oh yeah, it was at the gas station. Yeah, it was at the gas station. Okay, now what?
Yeah,
and I
now
called
what?
him expletive. Beep beep beep
you
beep.
got right in his
exactly.
face,
That was 1 inch from his nose. Anyway, folks, we'll be back here. I'll place your bet in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come.
Let the dice.
Yeah, true story.
What?
Hey, Mike, what's
Okay.
going on? How'd you bowl today?
So listen, the guy knocked on my front door. "Come outside, I'm going to kick your ass." What? Who the fuck are you?
Right.
Pete Spina said, "Oh, you've been talking shit about me." I don't even fucking know you, but okay.
Right.
He was older. I was like 15. He was 18. I was like, all right, let's go.
Right.
So we're on the front lawn, and we're like, oh, so my mother comes out. She said, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I'm going to kick this fucking kid's ass."
See,
And so,
that's funny. The kid across the street from me and we grew up, at first grade, I moved to the street, and there's a family across the street, and, the same amount of kids that we had in ours. And, he and the young kid and his name was Jimmy Laper. So Jimmy and Lousy had one decent game, second game, the same old bowler story. So this kid, Jimmy Laper, across the street from me, he and I used to fight on a regular basis. And what was cool is that my parents would sit on our front porch, because my dad would sit on the front porch with a gross of M80s and throw them in the neighbor's lawn, blow the neighbor's lawn up. He didn't care. And then, yeah.
A what M80?
M80s, a gross of M80s, 144 M80s.
And throw them where?
Just throw them over the wall, because, they sit on the front porch. He'd throw them into the yard next door. Old man Tucker didn't care. He's an ex-cop. He never said anything. So my dad would blow craters in the guy's lawn. But so Jimmy Laper and I we'd have our usual arguments or whatever, and then we would literally fight in the middle of the street, because it's kind of a one-way street, and my parents would be on our front porch, his mom and grandma and the family would be over there, and we'd just be duking it out.
And they'd watch you fight?
Yeah, they'd let us fight. And we fought all the time.
That's Chicago for you.
That was great.
That's Chicago for you.
Oh, yeah. That was a great time in the neighborhood. But Jimmy and I stayed friends, all the way through.
I just remember Pete Spina's name first time in 25 years. I never even thought of that. 30 years. I never thought of that kid's name.
That's
I
funny.
just remember it now.
That's funny.
Pete Spina. Come outside. I'm going to kick your ass.
Yeah, whatever.
What? Okay, let's go.
How about a good old-fashioned beatdown?
I mean, I wasn't the toughest kid in the neighborhood, but I'll fight you.
Yeah.
I'll fight you.
Well, yeah, if somebody says it, you got to do it.
The bully attacked me. I fought him. Mark Capone, he attacked me. I fought him.
All right, here we go. Okay, folks, welcome back to Place Your Bet. This is brought to you by Kelly Vegas, helping people just like you create and host your very own radio, TV, or multimedia talk show. Kelly Vegas can help you with everything you need to get out of sitting in hours of traffic every day and host your very own talk show in your very own studio. Call Kelly Vegas right now at 949-445-1119. That's 949-445-1119. Again, 949-445-1119, or visit them at kellyvegas.com. That's CALI Vegas.com, and tell them Place Your Bet sent you.
Yes! Very good. Very good. Okay, so this is going to be your segment. I want you to tell me what you want to talk about in the final segment. You want to start leading into the NFL weekend games, because we could spend a lot of time on those weekend games, because I'm excited. I'm very excited.
I was a guest on the prior show. We were talking a little bit about, it was the Indianapolis-Kansas City game. Excuse me. And that game was intriguing for a lot of reasons. But the early money there's already been a big dump on Kansas City. The line already jumped from 4.5 to 5.5, literally as soon as the line came out in the first hour and a half.
4.5 to 5.5.
Yeah.
So big money on Kansas City.
Yeah, a lot of money's going on Kansas City, and that's right out the gate. So,
and what's your feeling about the early shift?
Well, what it tells me is that the early money says, all right, we want the non-dome team to come to the dome, we want the dome team to come to the non-dome environment and go play in the cold weather.
Okay.
Right? And so I think what those bettors are forgetting.
I think that's a good theory.
It's a good theory, but here's the bigger problem for those people subscribing to that train of thought, because remember, Luck has some chemistry with his guys. He's been around. He knows how to play.
Very good.
He knows how to play a rollout game, but he is a pocket passer. And in cold weather, pocket passers do well. Those are the guys that win in the cold weather games. Why? Because they stay at home and they stay put. And the fact is, he can get the ball off very quickly. And because he can get it off quickly to his good receivers, that tells me you're going to see man coverage on guys like T.Y. Hilton. Why? You have to, because they're going to try to put pressure on him to flush him out of the pocket. But he's going to take 2 steps. The ball's going to be out. It's going to be timing plays left, right, and center. Maybe you might see a go route every now and then, but you're going to see a lot of fades, a lot of timing plays, and that's how the Chiefs could get beat in this game.
Okay, I have a couple questions for you on that then. First of all, Indianapolis has a better running game this year, right? This
Much
guy
better.
Marlon Mack has had a great year for them, right?
Yeah.
Marlon Mack, excellent year, and they also got a good backup kid named Jordan Wilkins, good backup running back. So they've got
a good offensive line.
Well, they also have that scat back like Tariq Cohen. They have Naheem Hines, who's the same version.
Right.
He's like this. So they have some variety at running back. The other thing you said is Luck doesn't have to.
And by the way, they've got a good tight end.
Yeah, Eric Ebron.
That's
very
right.
good tight end. So he doesn't have to throw the ball long. He may use a ball control passing offense with the running game to basically keep the ball away from Mahomes.
And I think he's going to throw the ball. If he does throw it, you're going to see 20-yard passes.
He's not going to throw the controlled pass underneath?
I think he's going to throw it over the linebackers. He'll throw it in between, right? Because you'll see a 2 deep. You'll see the Tampa of defense, but you'll probably see him drop it right where the coverage is soft in that 20-yard range. And I think he's going to have a lot of success there.
Okay, and so Kansas City, their defense is not their best quality.
No, well, the defensive line is pretty good, but they're soft on the second and third level.
But they're expecting Eric Berry back, which is big. He's their Earl Thomas.
Okay.
He's their Pro Bowl corner or safety. They're expecting him back, and they're also expecting Sammy Watkins back, which I don't think they missed Watkins that much because they had Chris Conley and they had the other kid, Dedrick Robinson. They had a couple other good players replace him, but they need Eric Berry back. Yeah, I mean, so what you're saying is that this game could come down to a field goal. Could be one of those.
The Colts weren't really challenged last game, so it was basically a scrimmage for this week.
Okay.
So here's a team, you could say, well, the Colts are not as fresh as the Chiefs, but that's not really the case. The fact is the Colts are business as usual. You see what I'm saying? So it was just another day for them. It was basically a scrimmage against the Texans, because the Texans didn't put up any fight whatsoever with their young quarterback. And I'm thinking that another young quarterback isn't really as attractive to the bettors. In my opinion, the late money will go on the Colts. So watch that line move up and down. I'm not saying which way I'm going to go on this one, but watch the line. It's going to shift back.
Very good. So the next game on the list here is also Saturday, the Saturday night game, the Cowboys at the Rams in the Coliseum. Now, the Cowboys, they were pressed in their game, and they're coming in with some injuries. They're not coming in as fresh as the Colts. They lost the one wide receiver to that horrific injury, which we've seen too many times this year. But they also, Beasley injured his ankle. He's playing. Tavon Austin had a great punt return. He re-injured his groin. So they're coming in. They're not 100%. The Rams, they didn't play last week, of course.
Rams are rested.
And they rested Gurley the last 2 weeks. I don't think Gurley's played in a month, which, I don't know, is that a good or bad thing? I mean, it's okay to get some rest, but he hasn't played in a month.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I would want him to be a little more game ready.
Again, and the same argument from the Colts. I would look at the team that has been battle tested in the first game. These guys know what it's like to play every week, whatever. They're not taking a couple weeks off. No, they're out there doing it every week. And that tells me that the Cowboys might be a little bit sharper.
Sharper at the beginning.
So
right?
what that tells me is take a look at that halftime betting. Look at the halftime betting line for the Cowboys-Rams game. Take a real hard look at that, which way the money's going on that, and that'll give you a good idea where you need to start leaning.
So you mean people are going to be laying money on the first half of that game?
Yeah, you could bet halftime.
So I mean, it's
halftime,
here.
first half, second half.
No,
sure.
I got it right here. But so the halftime bet is only 4.5. The Rams are up. The Rams are favored by 4.5.
Right, and the overall line is 7. I'm waiting for that line to go to it's 7. The line is 7. I'm waiting for it to go to 7.5.
Okay, and so that's a big move if it goes that way, right?
Well, it will go that way. The line will probably close. I'm going to guess that line will close at 7.5.
So the late money is going on the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as it's 7, people are going to try to dump on it until it hits 7.5. Then they're going to back off on it, and that's where it's going to probably finish up.
Okay, all right. So the third game on the list is the early game on Sunday. The Chargers go to New England, and again, another warm weather team playing in a cold weather site. But I told you before that the Chargers, they don't have a terrible record playing in cold weather. Neither does Phillip Rivers. He's actually got a winning record in December and January. Hasn't played much in January because what is he, 1-3 or 2-3 in playoffs now? But so this cold weather game, it shouldn't be as devastating to the Chargers.
I don't really think it's much of a factor, but what I do attribute a lot of the attention you ought to put on this is going to be New England's record at home in the playoffs, New England's record in the playoffs, period, whether it's on the road or at home, and the fact that you've got guys that know how to win in January and in February on that New England team. That's the scary part about this game.
And the Chargers don't.
Well, the Chargers they just haven't been there.
Yeah, they don't. And the one guy that has been there hasn't won. He hasn't been there in years.
Right.
Phillip Rivers, right? But he just hasn't won.
He doesn't know what it's like to win in January or February.
He's one fiery quarterback, though, isn't he? He's a little too fiery for your taste when he yells at his players. He didn't yell at his players the last game, but he is definitely a fiery quarterback. The other thing
let me go back to that game for a second, because I really believe that the Ravens fundamentally made a mistake in that game. They should have started Joe Flacco because Flacco's been there. Flacco's the guy with the experience. He's the guy that they've paid the money to. Let him go earn his money. And the players around him know, not whether it's a favorite of having Lamar Jackson. The fact is, You know, if you got a guy like Flacco, he has the experience. You got to get your experience out there playing in a game like that, and you can't entrust in the rookie. I'm sorry. They made a fundamental mistake right there.
Well, the last 5 minutes of the game, the rookie got them 2 touchdowns. He played much better. But you're right, because the first 3.5 quarters...
That's right. It was controlled.
Kicking the ball all over the field.
That's right.
It wasn't just him. The running back fumbled.
The team was in disarray without Joe Flacco. There's no leadership.
So even if Joe Flacco struggled in the first half, you're saying he wouldn't have turned the ball over and put him in such bad situations early in the game.
Well, Flacco is a very conservative quarterback, and he does what was necessary to win.
He's a good quarterback.
I think he's a very good quarterback. I think it was a big mistake by Baltimore, and Baltimore cost himself a victory by not starting Joe Flacco, in my opinion.
Well, they benched him when they were 4-5.
I got that.
Right. Well, they didn't bench him. He was hurt. He missed 2 games with a hip injury, and then when he got healthy, they decided to ride with Lamar Jackson. But I've said this to you before, a lot of these teams are looking for reasons to get their young guy in. They were looking for a reason to play Lamar Jackson.
That was a huge mistake.
But Lamar Jackson did go 6-1 in the regular season.
It doesn't matter.
But it does matter.
Well,
we can't say it doesn't.
I'll tell you why it doesn't matter, because you look at the Bears. The Bears were 12-4. How many of those games were lucky victories by defensive turnovers and whatnot? It wasn't an offensive explosion, but maybe a couple times by mistake it happened.
Fair point. So that's why it doesn't matter. Okay, so they were 6-1 with Lamar Jackson, and your theory is that
with that big defense on Baltimore,
a couple balls bounced their way. Right. Okay. So you go 6-1 with Lamar Jackson, and you got a playoff game
against arguably the best balanced team in the playoffs.
Yeah, there was no way they were going to start Lamar, and the fact is, he thought about switching to Flacco at some point in the second half, but then he even decided against that.
They should have just put him in to start.
The funny thing is, Flacco did. Lamar Jackson did play well that fourth quarter. He got them 2 touchdown drives.
But he laid an egg for the first 3.
I know, but let me finish. He got them in that game. They were down 23-17. They had the ball back at the 50-yard line with a minute to go. But then again, his inexperience shined through. He dropped the ball. He was going to throw the ball, and the guy ripped it out of his hands. But they had a chance in that game. But you're right. Lamar Jackson wasn't ready.
Right. The complexion of the game would have been entirely different. The game plan by the Chargers would have been entirely different if Flacco was in the game.
Yeah, it wasn't ready. And New England, their home record in the playoffs is absurd. I think they've lost 1 or 2 games in the playoffs in the last 10 years.
Right. Those guys are on cruise control till they hit the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and let's face it, they have the best coach in football. You got to say it. They got the best coach in football. He gets them ready.
You got the best coach, arguably the best quarterback. You got the best tight end. And let's face it, ultimately, these guys know how to win. So why would you even consider going a different direction?
Absolutely. Okay, so the last game is the late game. Philadelphia is playing the late game again in this weekend. Basically, the weekend is set up the same as last weekend. They had the Cowboys playing on the Saturday night game. This time it's in LA. The NFL's got to be thrilled to have the Cowboys playing in the Coliseum. They're already saying that all the stars are going to come out. The Cowboys they have their preseason camp in California, and they say one of the biggest reasons that Jerry Jones keeps it there is because
it's in Thousand Oaks, if I'm not mistaken.
Oxnard. It's in Oxnard.
It's in Oxnard?
Okay. It's in Oxnard.
Right up the road.
Yeah, so they had their camp there long before Jerry Jones bought the team, but he kept it there because he wants to keep cultivating that California fan.
You know what it is? And I know you don't know this about California, about Oxnard, California. It is the carnation capital of the world.
I did not know that. That's fantastic.
Right.
Okay, that's excellent. Sal does it again. Okay, so what I'm saying is the NFL, of course, they have their favorite teams. They got the Cowboys in LA on Saturday night. They got the Eagles, the late game on Sunday in New Orleans. Right? New Orleans is the number 1 seed. The Rams are the number 2 seed. But as far as the NFL is concerned, the Eagles and the Cowboys are their featured teams. Philadelphia and Dallas, they're the featured teams, so they go into these visiting cities here. Now, the Eagles go in to play New Orleans. They lost 48-7 to New Orleans in the regular season. How much does that matter now, even though that was 6 to 7 weeks ago?
That game doesn't matter, but what it does show you is that you'll probably see a very similar outcome in this game, too. How does Philadelphia even compete with this New Orleans team? New Orleans is the best team in the NFL, period. This is their year. I've been saying it all year. In fact, I said at the beginning...
So they're the Clemson of the NFL?
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, I said it was going to be New Orleans, New England.
Okay.
Right? And I can't see it any other way. The media would love it. Brady and Breeze, greatest of all time, alleged against Breeze, who could challenge him with a couple more wins. Breeze is the best statistical quarterback, all that other crap. So it will live up to the hype if those two teams end up playing.
Yeah.
I would actually like to see it myself.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'd like to see, though, is,
how does Philadelphia compete with New Orleans?
I don't know. I mean, that's my question. I don't know.
They can't compete with them.
I don't get a
They're
good
outclassed.
I don't get a good read in this Philadelphia team. Well, first of all, the New Orleans game was their worst game of the year, and it might have been an aberration because they did lose twice. They lost twice to the Cowboys, and they were very, very close games. The Cowboys were lucky to beat them both times. New Orleans struggled with the Cowboys, but Philadelphia...
They did not play Dallas 2 times this year.
Philadelphia did.
Oh, I thought you said New Orleans.
Philadelphia lost twice.
Right.
And then Indianapolis, the storylines that I'm looking for, and I always take the bird's eye big picture. I'd like to see Indianapolis beat Kansas City because I want to see Indianapolis go back into New England because they have such a history.
Right.
And they hate those two cities hate each other.
And then it'll be what? Another Indianapolis loss.
Yeah, probably.
At the hands of the Patriots.
Well,
how many times have we seen that movie?
Well, many, many times. I mean, Peyton Manning couldn't get past the Patriots until he finally did and won a Super Bowl.
Right.
And he was down in that game, but he finally turned it around. They finally had that great team. And Andrew Luck has lost to Brady. He's 0-6 against Brady.
Right.
Rivers is 0-7 against Brady, and of course Brady beat Mahomes. So the 3 remaining quarterbacks in the AFC are 0-14 against Brady. That's crazy. So Indianapolis playing New England on Championship Sunday, and then I'd like to see the Cowboys play New Orleans again for that rematch because let's face it, doesn't New Orleans owe the Cowboys a beatdown? Don't they owe, even though the Cowboys only beat them 13-10?
Dude, nobody's going to beat New Orleans. It doesn't matter.
So that's what I'm saying.
Nobody will beat them.
Don't they owe them a beatdown? They don't want to just beat the Cowboys 13-10.
I don't think they care. I think they want to just get to the game, get to the next game, and that's it. They don't need to beat them down because it's a class group of guys. Between Peyton and Breeze and company, they don't need to do that. That's not how their personality is. Now, if it was the Rams with guys like Sue, who steps on people's necks and kicks them and crap like that, he's a dirty player. Now, I think the Rams would be looking for a big victory if that's the direction you're going with big wins. Now, I don't even think the Rams are going to play that well this weekend, to be honest with you.
But even the Rams don't have to play that well to beat Dallas.
I'm not saying that they're going to lose. I'm not saying that they're not going to cover.
They could play a bad game and still win that game.
I don't think the Rams are going to be very sharp. I mean, again, what the hell do I know? I don't know nothing.
Well, see, one of the advantages that the Rams are going to have is even if they come out not sharp, a little dull at the beginning, chances are the Cowboys are going to end up with a couple field goals. They don't score any points. So they might be up 6-0 or whatever it is. 9-3, and then the Rams go on one of their tears in the third quarter, blow them out.
Okay, but remember
that's how they beat them last year.
Right, but the blueprint on how to beat the Rams, that was put together by the Packers, the Bears, and the Eagles. They all showed where the Rams were weak.
And what's the blueprint?
Well, first of all, defensively, they're not very good.
Well, we all know that.
They don't have the chemistry. And all it is about double and tripling Donald. And that's basically it. Because Sue hasn't showed up all season.
No, I know. That's why they went out and they got the Dante Fowler, whatever. They got that guy.
Right.
But the thing is, like I'm saying, I don't think the Cowboys can put enough distance between them.
I don't know.
When they're not sharp. The Cowboys don't score a lot. That's the thing. Even though they're a good team, they're not a high-scoring team. So if the Rams come out like a dull blade at the beginning of this game, you need to jump on them. You need to be up 21-0. You need to have a wide margin. So when the Rams finally start kicking it in, at least
the Rams are going to want to get up 28, 29-0, whatever the hell it is, right away.
Who?
The Rams are going to want to do that.
No, but you were saying that they're not going to be sharp.
No, but I'm just saying they're going to want to push the envelope. So I'm looking for interception, maybe 1 or 2 interceptions in the first half.
Who's intercepting who?
I'm looking for Dallas to intercept the Rams.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking for Goff to throw it away a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's what I'm saying. But I just see the Rams. I see the Rams and the Saints in the NFC Championship game.
You could be right. I mean, I don't know. I'm not picking either way. All I'm saying is,
I don't know. I'm not picking either way either. But
this is about the Saints, and that's it.
We're Tuesday, right?
Doesn't matter.
Tuesday. Yeah,
we got
4 more games.
Listen, folks, it's the Saints. That's it.
Saints all the way.
There are no other bets to be had.
Okay, so you haven't been wrong yet. So it's the Saints all the way. That's what you're saying.
I can't see it any other way.
The Saints are Clemson, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. That is, Clemson are the Saints of the NCAA football world. Anyway, folks, we're going to be back tomorrow right here on your favorite channel, your favorite time, your favorite everything. KSHB 1400, home of your Arizona Diamondbacks. For Tommy T, I am Sal the Bookmaker. We'll see you next time.
Right at 50.
All right, guys.
Right at 50.
Beep. All right. Hope you enjoy the show.